What happened then was my son showed signs of life and he actually woke up, miraculously he woke up. On the third day, I went home exhausted. I was met with when I got home were two detectives from Hertfordshire Constabulary sent by the Metropolitan Police to arrest me for child abandonment for leaving my 16-year-old son home alone whilst I held my dying son's hand. This is what they do. Since speaking out, I have met with some very honourable politicians who are disgusted at what goes on. One of them was a former Cabinet Minister for Policing and Crime. When he stood up and he came to my assistance, he was removed from his post. The Metropolitan Police, in their investigation into serious allegations of malfeasance, corruption in a public office, with any major crime, the person is arrested, they are interviewed, they're either remanded, charged, or they are bailed. I gave them names of 3 senior officers involved in the cover-up of child prostitution. The Met Police's response to it was that they politely asked them if they'd done it. They denied it, so they finished the investigation. The matter was then, under protestation, was transferred to the IPCC. I was meant to be given updates every 28 days as to the progress. I never received one in 3 years. They dropped the case. The matter is now being re-investigated. The Cabinet Minister that helped me took the matter to the Home Office. The Secretary of State was informed and I was invited to Parliament. I took along my paperwork. The Home Office, in a recorded meeting, seized my paperwork and assured me that there will be a full independent investigation. They took my paperwork, and when I never heard from them in a year, they was asked what they'd done with it. They denied even knowing me. I met with other police whistleblowers who must understand that I was alone. I thought it was just me that had ever spoke out. I realised there were many others that had spoke out. One of them was an incredibly brave man called Lenny Harper, who had stood up and exposed the deliberate cover-up of the child rape and murder in a children's home called Haute de la Garenne in Jersey. He turned around to me and said, "John, the tentacles of what you're looking at go right to the heart of the British establishment. Be very, very careful." I met with others. I met with one detective sergeant from the Isle of Wight who had exposed child prostitution in the Isle of Wight. The police arrested him for mortgage fraud. They went through his financial records and found that by a couple of £1,000 he'd hyperinflated his earnings, which had nothing to do with his status as a protected witness, and then they decided to arrest him. He faced a Crown Court trial and nearly committed suicide as a result. I stood up and I did everything I could for the victims and survivors of abuse. And I was asked by someone, "Were you ever scared?" And my answer to you is this, right? This is exactly what I said to them. My fear in standing up and doing my job, because I took an oath, and my oath said, I will act without fear, without favour. Every single officer who failed to do that, they have gone against their oath. And I said, my fear is nothing compared to that of a child in the institution that is having their cover taken from over them in the middle of the night. I now work tirelessly with victims and survivors of abuse. I spend my own money in doing it. I've been accused of stealing charity money. I've been accused of working for MI5 like everyone else. They must employ more people than Tesco's. You know, it's like the SAS, the most oversubscribed regiment in the British Army. This has cost me near enough everything, yet I continue to do so. I spent 7 hours in the presence of a man that was brought to his knees crying mercilessly because he had never spoke out about his abuse. And he told me he got me through the internet, and I travelled all the way up to Rotherham to stay with him. Right, he's become suicidal because no one's ever listened. What we're looking at is a genocide against our children. 75% of prison inmates come from abused backgrounds. 75%. Our prison system has a 75% recidivism rate. It does not work. We are setting our children up to fail. I categorically proved to the Independent Child Abuse Panel, ICSA, that there is a monumental failing, and it's a design failing. My evidence was classed as credible, corroborative, and there's another C, I can't remember now, but it'll come to me in a minute. Right, and it was passed on to the government panel, and I was appointed core participant status to give my evidence in a failing system. The day after the British government got my statement, they took out a judicial review and they amended the parameters so I was not allowed to give evidence. This is going on in our parliament. They are deliberately covering this up. I had a fella come to me saying, John, it's not just the lower and the working classes that suffer, because they're the ones predominantly that I've been working with. This guy, he's the son of one of Churchill's cabinet. He was raped by his father, who is a lord. He's dead now. And he said, it goes on in our public school system. And he goes on about Eton. He said, the fagging system in Eton is nothing more than a rent boy racket. And this is what we're getting, attack after attack after attack on our children. And whenever anyone boldly and bravely stands up to shine light, it's like someone said to me, when you shine a light in a sewer, the rats attack. And they do attack. And they hurt you, and they hurt you bad. But you must be resilient, and you must stand your ground. And I say to everyone, you've got to drop the fear. I've been raising money for charities, which one of them is called the Lay Community, and it deals with alcohol and drug addiction. Again, we're looking at 75% of Class A drug addicts come from abused backgrounds. We've got 90% of people suffering mental health problems have come from abused backgrounds. Now, for some reason, I can see a pattern emerging here. I'm scratching my head, but I can't figure it out. It is as clear as the nose on your face what is going on, and we are allowing it to happen. And that's why I'm here today, to give my support to Gavin and others, that this needs to be highlighted. It is the attack on the children that is causing the decimation of our society. So that's it. I will continue doing it, and I will do my best. So God bless you all, and thank you.